Now it's my time. Yeah, don't run too much. Let's wait, man.
He does it to everybody. Everybody he gets a hold of, he just ragdolls. Even like really elite wrestlers. Seeing him breaking Robert Whittaker's jaw just by squeezing him across his face. Got him down and mauled him until he broke his face.
Do you think it's different with Du Plessis?
He can wrestle. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He hits hard, and he's a big, durable dude. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle with that guy. Like, I don't know, man. Khamzat's skill is so high level, it makes me wonder. It appears that he's, in terms of like the grappling that he possesses, seems magnitudes greater than anybody else in his division.
UFC 319 just around the corner. The tension is ramping up, and Khamzat Chimaev isn't holding back. As the August 16th showdown approaches, Chimaev has issued fist warnings to Dricus Du Plessis, making it clear he plans to dominate the fight. In typical fashion, Khamzat declared he's ready to run through anyone who steps in front of him. Meanwhile, UFC analyst Michael Bisping shared his thoughts on the matchup. He's long been a supporter of Du Plessis and doesn't buy into the idea that the South African is underappreciated. Reflecting on comments made during the UFC 317 weigh-in show, where some analysts viewed Du Plessis as overlooked, Bisping disagreed. He sees Du Plessis as a legitimate threat, a powerful, well-rounded fighter with knockout power, solid grappling, and submission skills. That said, Bisping also gave credit to Chimaev's undeniable dominance, likening his fighting style to a hot knife slicing through butter, effortlessly tearing through every opponent in his way.
I'm a big fan of Du Plessis. It's crazy because when we did the UFC 317 weigh-in show, we had to pick most underrated fighters. And some of the other panel, I think a couple of them had Dricus Du Plessis as underrated. You know, and I was like, I don't know if he's underrated, man. I think he's the real deal. He's a big, strong guy. He's knocking people out. He's wrestling them. He's submitting them. But if you look at Khamzat, right, we know he just goes through everyone like a hot knife through butter.
Michael Bisping also gave credit to Dricus Du Plessis for his impressive track record, highlighting major wins over top-tier opponents like Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and Robert Whittaker. Still, Bisping sees Khamzat Chimaev as an entirely different kind of threat, an explosive and relentless fighter who doesn't ease off the gas, according to Bisping. This won't be a fight Khamzat can just bulldoze through like he's done in the past. Du Plessis presents unique challenges, and whether Chimaev can maintain his pace and composure over a full 5-round war remains one of the biggest questions heading into UFC 319.
Dricus beat Strickland twice, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker. Before that was Derek Brunson and Darren Till and Brad Tavares. It was definitely, I won't say a step up because Strickland was a champ and Israel was a long-time champ. But I do think Khamzat is a different kind of beast. You know, the question is, can he go 5 rounds? You know, I think he knows he can't expect to go out there and just get a hold of Dricus, ragdoll him to the floor and face crank him, smash his teeth in like he did to Robert Whittaker and walk away, you know. But the fun thing about Khamzat is that he'll try and do that. I don't think he has the ability to pace himself because he's never had a need to.
Paul Felder also weighed in on the matchup, calling it the toughest test of Dricus Du Plessis' career to date. He emphasized how Khamzat Chimaev's non-stop pressure and explosive aggression in the opening round make him a serious threat to anyone in the division. While Du Plessis has already taken out elite names like Robert Whittaker, Felder believes that Chimaev's relentless, in-your-face style presents a whole new level of challenge.
Do you think this is the toughest test of Dricus Du Plessis' career?
Yeah, I think so. I think just that first round type of crazy onslaught that he brings to the table and the pressure that he brings early in a fight is very, very difficult, where it might not be the highest caliber as far as pedigree and what we've seen from a fighter so far. I mean, you got Whitakers and people like that he's been able to beat and get through. But I absolutely think that this is going to be his biggest test.
Paul Felder didn't hold back when describing what the first round could look like for Dricus Du Plessis, calling it pure chaos. He highlighted how Khamzat Chimaev charges forward from the opening bell, hunting for dominant positions, throwing heavy shots, and trying to end things early. Felder also acknowledged that Du Plessis can sometimes come off as unorthodox or even a bit wild in his movements. Still, he gave the South African credit for constantly proving doubters wrong. And despite the storm Chimaev brings, Felder ultimately gives the edge to Du Plessis, believing he has what it takes to weather the pressure and find a way to win.
You know that first 5 minutes is absolute chaos with somebody like Khamzat. He's going to be on him. He's going to try to take him down. He's going to try to take his back, and he throws big punches. And Dricus being a little bit wild and a little bit clumsy in there sometimes. I think this is his biggest test. But, dude, I'm done ever counting Dricus Du Plessis out of a fight. He has proven all of us wrong over and over again in these fights where we think he's going to, okay, this guy's going to kick his ass. So if I had to pick, I'm leaning Du Plessis.
Eddie Alvarez also shared his thoughts on the matchup, admitting it's hard to pick against Khamzat Chimaev, whom he described as an absolute powerhouse. However, Alvarez didn't dismiss Dricus Du Plessis either. He called Du Plessis a strange and unorthodox fighter, someone whose technique might not be the cleanest, but whose results speak for themselves. Alvarez praised Du Plessis for his outstanding cardio and relentless work ethic, saying he has a knack for pulling out victories regardless of how the fight looks. In Alvarez's eyes, that grit makes Du Plessis a dangerous opponent and someone you can never fully count out.
I think it's hard to bet against Chimaev for me. The guy's a powerhouse, but I can't pick that. Yeah, Dricus is like this odd character for me. Like I never really watching him aesthetically. It don't all look perfect. It's very like it doesn't look aesthetically. It doesn't look good, but he gets the job done. His conditioning's crazy. He's one of the hardest workers in the entire sport, and he finds a way. He's one of them guys who find a way regardless of how it looks. So you can never count him out. But I think Chimaev, if it goes past round 2, Dricus.
Former UFC champ Chael Sonnen also chimed in on how Khamzat Chimaev might secure a win over Dricus Du Plessis. According to Sonnen, Chimaev's primary strategy would likely involve taking Du Plessis to the mat and maintaining control with his dominant ground game. But if that plan doesn't play out, Chimaev would likely shift gears and look to outstrike Du Plessis on the feet. Sonnen also pointed out that there was a time when fans believed Chimaev was simply unbeatable. Now, this upcoming clash could be the moment that either confirms that hype or challenges it.
How does Chimaev beat Dricus is a different verbiage for saying, I don't think Chimaev can beat Dricus, and I'm only sharing with you, that's new. You guys have always believed that Chimaev could beat Dricus. You've always believed that Chimaev could beat everybody. You believed as recently as Chimaev's last fight that nobody could touch him. And you're a very fickle group. And can he beat him? That's between those two. How does he beat him? He starts with plan A, which is to take him down and maul him. And if that doesn't work, which in the past it hasn't, he attempts to bludgeon him on his feet more than he gets bludgeoned. That's the answer to the question. That's how Chimaev would beat Dricus.
Chael Sonnen also raised an important question. Can Dricus Du Plessis actually stop Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling or even take Chimaev down himself? Sonnen noted that Khamzat usually seizes control early, as seen in his bout with Robert Whittaker, but believes Du Plessis will be a far tougher puzzle to solve on the ground. In Sonnen's view, that uncertainty makes this matchup far more compelling and competitive than many fans might be expecting.
Is he good enough to defend the takedowns of Chimaev? Let's go further with it. Is he good enough to take Chimaev down? I've never seen Chimaev lose a stand-up fight. I want you to know how good Dricus is at a stand-up fight. Do you believe that Chimaev can tackle this man? Chimaev has gotten on top of everybody with no exception inside of 5 minutes. And you guys remember the Robert Whittaker fight. He came right across the ring, got him right down right away. Chimaev versus Dricus feels different. What a match. Dricus Du Plessis, world champion. It's not quite as obvious that he couldn't go with Alex Pierre. It's not quite as obvious as it felt. It's not quite as obvious that he can't go with Chimaev. Things feel very different right now.
Shield Sonnen further emphasized the chaotic and unpredictable nature of this matchup, pointing out that neither fighter is walking into an easy night. In his eyes, this fight perfectly represents the thrilling new chapter unfolding in the middleweight division, a collision that showcases its depth, danger, and rising talent. For Sonnen, this is more than just a big fight. It's a powerful statement about how intense and competitive the modern middleweight landscape has become.
I mean, this isn't a simple fight where you go, well, go out and take him down. It's like, yeah, good luck. Go out and take him down. Yeah, it's true. And then you got to hold him there once you do it. Oh, and by the way, nobody else has taken down and held Dricus there. Like, this fight is starting to look different. The entire division is starting to look different. There's never been a time that 185 pounds has had such a spotlight on it. I'm watching this guy, Kyle Barrow, myself. I'm thinking this guy might quietly be the real assassin of that division, but that's not easy to say. I think Bo Nickel go all the way to the top. And I think that DeRinner is greatly underrated. And I don't think Sean Strickland is ready to move on just yet. Like, 185 is a really exciting proposition.
In a notable development, Arman Tsarukyan has officially joined Khamzat Chimaev's training camp as preparations ramp up for the upcoming clash with Dricus Du Plessis. Tsarukyan spoke about the intensity of training alongside Chimaev, describing it as an experience that pushes fighters to their absolute breaking point. According to Arman, it's more than just preparation. It feels like a battlefield, where only the most resilient survive. He believes that level of training builds not just skill, but a mentality strong enough to crush anyone who steps into the cage.